Welcome, superstar agents across the country. Today is Thursday, July 21st, 2016, and this is Mastermind call number 84. So, three of the four partners so far are on the line. We still have people signing on. We already have two people in the queue. Thank you to you guys that are participating. If you would like to participate in the call, just a reminder, just hit *6 and then hit 1, and you will get in the queue to be unmuted and answer questions and actively participate in the call. All right. Tim, anything you want to share with the group?
Yeah, I'll just, I think you said on the last call that I've been trying to take a little vacation time, and unfortunately haven't been able to get as much of it as I wanted. We're super busy doing some stuff, but I understood there was a question about the CRM that we're working on and some of the things in regard to the new site, and just letting you guys know. I mean, we're the only people that are putting pressure on us to do the things that we are deciding to do to make life better for everybody or us, and want to make sure that it's right. So we're not doing it on purpose. We're just like any software development project, making sure that it's correct, right, and does what it's supposed to do and what we want it to do before we release it. So as soon as we have an update for you on that, we will. We've been playing with it in beta for a while, and we're using it internally for a lot of stuff. And unbeknownst to you, you're actually using some of the pieces of it now that we're testing on the old site. So we're making sure that it all works before we roll it all over. So just kind of letting you know that. And that's kind of all I had to say. I hope everybody's enjoying their summer and enjoying the beautiful weather, and be safe. That's it.
Excellent. One of my first mentors said that, everything always takes longer than you want it to, so we appreciate your patience. I know several of you are really waiting on that CRM, and when we do roll it out, it will be tested and it'll be right. Chad, anything you want to add from a training perspective?
Wait on all the training too. No, guys, with the big system change, we've really improved all of our training from the fast track all the way to mastery, and all of that has been rebuilt, and we'll launch all new training that centers around the new tools. So that will be part of the rollout too. I have updated mastery and really found a way to move forward with that now rather than waiting for the system. So keep your eye out. I'll be sending out the invites for the next mastery class if you want to get in that. I've got a wait list of folks, so if you have raised your hand and said, hey, I want to be in the next class, I'll make sure I get in touch with you. If you want to be on the wait list, go ahead and send me an email. It's chad@alltheleads.com. And otherwise, just check your email, watch our Facebook page, and you'll see the announcement.
Excellent. All right. Well, we have two people so far in the queue, and we've got time for 3 or 4 more guys. Hit *6 and hit 1 if you would like to actively participate in the call. Please, *6 and then hit 1. And let's go to the first person. I think I recognize that area code. Phone number ending in 1003. You're up.
Roger Lisi here. Good afternoon, good day. Everybody stay cool.
Those are words of wisdom. Anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, I just had a morning appointment with 2 attorneys representing the estate of a gentleman that died with a daughter and a mother, and looks like tomorrow we're going to get the listing agreement signed, and it'll total probably a net of maybe about $10,000 in gross commissions just for one side. If I get both sides, be a little bit better.
Boy, that's awesome. Tell everybody where you're at. You're in a large metropolitan area, right, Roger?
I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas, home of the Arkansas Razorbacks.
Okay. So I always love when you contribute, because if it works in Arkansas, it'll work anywhere. You don't have a huge population. I'm assuming that $10,000 commission, that's not the $8 million property that you listed. That's a different one, right?
No, this is a different one, and I'm still working on the family in that, and I think they're ready to do something, but I stay in contact with them. I give them updates on the market, what's happening in the market, because the executor lives outside of the market. The mom lives in the market, but she's elderly as well, and there's two other siblings that live. One lives in Seattle, and the other one lives in Washington D.C. They're the ones that want to sell. The one here doesn't want to sell yet. So,
gotcha. All right, excellent. And Roger, I know you didn't come out of the box great guns. You've just been kind of slow and steady with this. You've been doing it for what, 4 or 5 months now?
Oh, I think it's about closer to 6 months, 7 months now, and
okay.
And I'm learning something new every day.
Well, thank you. Any questions or anything that we can help you with specifically?
No, I'm making I'm emphasizing right now my decisions on questions and finding. I think Jim or Chad mentioned a couple of calls ago about and when you finally get to talking to the personal representative, you might want to throw something in there about what they're going to do with the money once they get that. I'm emphasizing that on the front end, and it helps me to develop a contiguous plan and another sale through that, and finding out what their objectives are, and it gets really exciting, gets really personal, because then they start going, why are you doing this? And I'm finding quite a bit of acceptance, and it creates a much closer or a much quicker bond and familiarity with what my objectives are to help them achieve what their objectives are. So I'm finding that that's quite a bit different than a Zillow call or a Trulia call, and I'm excited about it.
That's great. I know our trainer Chad is smiling, so you're actually asking good questions, finding out what their needs are instead of just talking about me. And once you find out their motivation for selling the house, you can key on that. And not only that, but you'd hate to sell it and then find out they turn around and bought another property from another realtor just because you didn't ask them that extra question. And it happens. People, if you don't get them thinking about it and let them realize that you can help them regardless of what they're looking to do, not only selling this property but buying something else, they don't necessarily mean to do it, but they do. People are not always conscious, so you're focusing on them. That's great. Chad, any comments on what Roger's doing? Anything you want to add?
Well, Roger and I talked on, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and he gave me Roger's attitude is, you're one of the best, most successful people we have, because you just get out there, roll your sleeves up, and get it done. And anyone who hasn't heard Roger on the calls before, when we first met, that conversation was a lot different. And that $8 million listing came from just getting out there and doing it. But he's taken, looking at casting a wide net, working with attorneys, working with, making sure that everybody in his sphere of influence understands that he's specializing in transitional real estate. And the compound effect of that is, attracting a lot of business. So I think, for anyone on the call, if you're in the Facebook group and you have any questions, and Roger, I'm going to put you on the spot, but just tag him in a post and ask if how he did it. I'm not going to get into it here, but he's done a really good job with networking himself in the community and making sure that the attorneys and his sphere of influence knows what he does, in addition to also making phone calls and sending his letters. So he is a great example of the sum of many parts of a marketing campaign.
Well said. Roger, thank you as always for showing up. I'm going to leave you unmuted. If I accidentally mute you again, you have something else to contribute, please hit *6 and hit 1 again. Anything else for now, Roger, or are we good?
We're good. I
right.
just want to only amplify the adding these potential the attorneys and the heirs to sphere of influence and mailing to them afterwards, because they're a good source of referrals afterwards.
Great point. Well said. Thank you as always, Roger. We have another, let's see, Jim Gilbert. Jim's in the queue. I'm going to unmute you next. Jim, welcome. How are you, sir? Phone number ending in 3199. I think it's Jim Gilbert. Are you there? All right, Jim, if you're there, hit *6 again and come back in. I also see Bill Bird, you're on the call. If you'd like to contribute, hit *6 and hit 1, please. Bill hasn't been on the calls lately. In the meantime, we'll let's see if.
Is it time for me to sing yet?
Yeah, you sing while I try to find Jim and unmute him. For some reason. There we go. All right, we have someone. Jim, I found you. I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, but now we have another caller in there. So phone number ending in 6452. You're up.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, my question is about the phone calls. We're sending a letter out every 3 weeks and then following it up with the phone call. And I don't know. I feel that that's not enough. But I don't want to be, I don't want to be pounding them like an expired because, they've lost a loved one. But, so I don't know, what are people doing with regards to how often they're calling?
So what we recommend is 3 letters and 3 phone calls over a 90-day period. And you can kind of think of that as a, minimum effective dose, or like that's kind of what we found to be best practices across all agents. We definitely have people who are super successful just making a phone call day one and maybe not sending a letter. So if you're a more aggressive prospector, don't hesitate to, if that's your style, don't hesitate to reach out more. The more touches you have, the more likely you are to make that contact and get that business. Now, I wouldn't recommend prospecting it like you would a FSBO or an expired, where you call every morning at 7 o'clock. But if you call and leave, and don't leave a voicemail on Monday, call back on Wednesday to see if you get them, or just continue calling until you get a live answer. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It really, we kind of give you the guidelines for what works. But if you feel like you want to be more aggressive, or you could do better, definitely go do that.
Okay, so a couple times a week would not be too. I'm not going to call them every morning, but right now it just doesn't seem like it's enough touches. And like I said, we're going every 3 weeks with a letter, and then a couple days after that we'll make a phone call, and then every once in a while we'll drop one of those voicemails in. But I don't know. It just seems like it's. We're not having the success. Not that we're losing deals, it's just they're not doing anything. They're not listing, they're not selling. They're kind of in a limbo. All the leads that we have right now. So
a lot of that is, and a big part of what we teach in mastery is, most of the objections in this niche aren't really objections. They're more procrastinations, and it's what I call probate quicksand. And we try to teach people to identify that it's usually hinged around something really emotional, like the personal property, or family members who's someone that's being ugly, or someone who's having a harder time dealing with the situation. So through really good questions, you can kind of understand who the people are and what the dynamics are, and then apply pressure where you need to. And I'm not a pushy salesperson at all. But if I see somebody standing in their own way, if I feel like they're better off to sell the home than not, then I'll apply pressure and pull them through the probate quicksand. And we kind of go through that in detail in Mastery in Session 3. But that's what I would say, ask better questions, find out, what's the real reason for their procrastination, and push them through with value.
I think a couple calls ago, someone made a good point in California, like, how do you push them? And somebody made a good point. Just make the point, hey, we're in the middle of the summer now. This is prime selling time. You know, would you rather get it on the market now or wait till winter when there's half as many buyers looking? I mean, don't make anything up, but if it's a legitimate reason, you know, give them some motivation to do something now. And I know Chad's given examples before where just asking a few extra questions. We had one I'll never forget. A customer maybe 8 or 9 months ago. The guy was an electric train collector. He had a house full of these Lionel trains, and turns out all these trains were worth almost as much as the house. And they were trying to find somebody to buy the train set so they could sell the house. And once the agent identified that was really the issue, he got an estate liquidation company. They found somebody that specialized in that, and as soon as the trains got cleared out and they got their check, the objection was gone. They were ready to list. So either if it's just procrastination, find a good reason for them to list now, like this is a great time of year, and if there is some valid reason, you just got to flush it out. And like Chad said, it's just asking really good questions, one after another. And like Roger said in the beginning, the more you ask them questions about themselves and the less time you spend talking about yourself, the more they're going to get it that you're really trying to help them, you know, that you're really trying to do what's best for them.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Oh, it totally makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I definitely get that. And our market is hot. I mean, all they have to do is put a sign in front of the house, and they'll have 6 or 7 offers on it. It's how crazy this market is right now. So, I mean, we go over that with them, but yeah, it just seems like we're just not getting. I don't know. Maybe it's just I haven't been doing it long enough. The cycle. I know it takes a while for them to get even the okay to to be able to actually sell it. And I did try a couple times to go with let's just list it and then we could hold off to close it, but that didn't work. But so I work expireds and for sale by owners a lot, and I was just hoping this was going to be another wheel or spoke in the wheel per se. But it's different than those guys. I mean, you can be really aggressive with them. I just noticed when I'm aggressive with these people, they kind of think you're an ambulance chaser. That's why I was wondering if calling multiple times. Obviously, I wouldn't call every day, but if you don't think calling multiple times a week is too much, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just change it to that. So thank you very much for taking my call.
Oh, you're welcome. You're in California, right?
I'm in California. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
letters are useless. Unfortunately.
Well, you have to vary them for the West Coast, and the process takes twice as long in California as anywhere else in the country. So in most parts of the country, the attorney files the probate, says you can't sell for 90 days, and that's why we say that 90 days is a sweet spot. They're not actively looking to do anything. And in most areas, by the end of the 90 days, if they haven't been contacted by a realtor, they're out looking for one. And having said that, people do grieve at different levels, and there will be some people that, I got a letter I sent out 18 months ago that, they put it away and they finally went through mom and dad's stuff. So it's a combination of factors, but unfortunately your market does have a delayed effect compared to other parts of the country, and you just kind of go with the flow. I guess that's all you can really do. I thought my friend Bill Bird was on the call, but he's a classic example. He's in San Bernardino, and it took him about 4 months to get his first deal. Then all of a sudden he got 6, and then he went another 4 months, and then last November he got 9. And he says he's got a pond in his front yard. Every time he makes a call or sends a letter, he's stocking the pond, and he knows one of these times when he casts his line in there, he's going to get a bite. So I think you just have to look at it. It's unfortunately in California, just by the nature of your legal system, it's going to be a little bit longer process.
Something I want to add, since you're in California, and you may know this, but the executor, the personal representative in California, can petition the court for full power, and if you submit that petition and you either have a fidelity bond or the will waives the need for a fidelity bond, which is 90% of the time, then they don't need court approval. So that's a loophole that they may not know about, and the attorney might not have covered with them. So it can be a really good value point for you as a real estate professional to show them the benefit of getting full power from the court, selling the real estate now so they can sell the estate faster. So you can be the golden key to settling that estate faster by being the first one to bring that information to their attention. And maybe the attorneys are already doing it, maybe they're not. If I were you, I would try that and see if that might make a difference to jolt some of them loose. Well, Mr. Smith, what if I could show you a way that you could cut the time of this estate settlement in half and go ahead and get the money for the real estate? So there's little nuances like that in each place that you can use to your advantage, because they're probably not going to expect a real estate agent to know that or to make that kind of an offer. And that's a really good reason to meet with you, right? So, well, why don't we just sit down for 15 minutes on Friday? I'll show you guys what I'm talking about and kind of give you an idea of what it would look like, and then you can make a decision. Fair enough?
That's a good angle. I never even thought about that. That's because I truly don't believe. I think the attorneys in this town are lazy because they tell them don't do anything, just sit until I tell you. I've had multiple short sales that I've talked to people and said, look, my partner and I have done hundreds of short sales. We can get this short sale done. You'll get paid. I know I can get you your money. At least you'll get some. No, my attorney says just give the keys back to the bank. Like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
I'm sitting here laughing. My wife has a short sale company. We had an attorney call her and say, well, just ask the supervisor and he'll overrule that requirement with a short sale. You'd be surprised just because they have a legal degree, they don't necessarily know what they're doing.
Yeah, we have really.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm working on it. Let me see who that is. Testing. Tim, that was you. I muted you out for now. All right, great.
Thank you.
Great points. Thank you very much. And Jim Gilbert came back. Jim, welcome back. You're up next.
Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I did make it back. Actually, that was a listing that just called me back that I've been working on. It's my second listing I've got. Just got it yesterday. So we're moving forward, but I wanted to.
Awesome. Jim, how'd you get the listing? Just real quick. You've been with us 2-3 months, but how did you?
This is actually my third set of leads, but I'm not sure if this one come off of my second set or my first set. I believe it was my second set. They just, I left a nice message and they called me back. So, you got to have what I've found out. You really have a lot of empathy for these people because some of them are going through a real tough time. And I know we've kind of hit on this a few other times, but I found out the nicer and the more, just more polite and the more you offer to help them with things, the better it seems like it works for you. I did want to mention this, though. I had an elderly lady call me back, and I didn't talk to her, but she left me a message, and I wished I could play it for you. She just chewed my ass out because there was not a return address on the mailbox motivator. I was the lowest son of a bitch, excuse my French, in the world to her.
You got to laugh. On one hand, you want to say get a life, but on the other hand, I'm sure you were nice to her, right?
Well, I never talked to her. She
okay.
left me a message, and she didn't want me to call her back. You
should call back and say, hey, I just wanted to fill you in. Here's my return address, and by the way, do you want to sell the property? Have a little bit of fun with it. So I love
probably
that.
I'll go back to what I said last week. What you've got to remember is what mindset she's in, and the magic question: what's this conversation really about? It's maybe she was hoping you would pick up so she could vent on your ass, and it would have turned into a great conversation. You just never know. And I've had that happen. I had one guy call me, and this was it wasn't probate. It was an absentee owner. And I sent a kind of a We Buy Houses letter when I was first getting started in investing, and he was like sitting outside of the UPS store where I have my business box, ready to fight. And I ended up turning him into a cash buyer. Like, he was ready to fight because I sent him these letters. And then he ended up on my buyer's list. So you never know what the conversation's really about. So call her and say, "Man, sorry to offend you with no return address, but yeah, you must be really stressed out. Is there any way I can help?"
Yep. I actually think I would, Jim. You might, or you'll get cussed again, but either way, you seem to be able to laugh it off. So either way is okay.
Well, I want to mention something else too. I've been getting quite a few people complaining about telling me they're on the no call registry, and should that be a problem to us? I mean, should we be checking?
Let me give you my legal disclaimer first. We are not attorneys. Please check with your broker and your local your counsel. Now, having said that, every attorney we've spoken to said that when these people volunteered they agreed to be the executor, they're going on public notice that I'm the one to contact regarding this estate. So the do not call should not apply. If you're allowing your information to be recorded at the courthouse that says, "Hey, I'm in charge of settling this estate," and somebody calls you about it, that it's not logical that would apply. So that's our opinion, but I have to again say double check with your broker, and if it makes you feel better, check against the do not call. And doing this for 3 years, we have yet to have a single person have a complaint, or an issue of a complaint. That's the first I've heard of it. You've actually had a couple people call back and say that?
No, not call back, but just while I was talking to them, how'd you get my number? I'm on the do not call list, and I just always tell them, it's public record, and it seems to take care of it. But
we do hear a lot from our agents that people say, "How'd you get this phone number?" Nobody has this phone number, and my partner Tim he's our tech guy. He's a wizard at he just did the fanfare announcement. I don't know if that was on purpose, but he's really, really good at getting good phone numbers, and we give you up to 5 phone numbers, and 80 to 90% of the time, at least one of those numbers is going to be good. So you will be calling numbers and you'll be talking to people that nobody else is talking to. So, but my own opinion, I don't think you have an issue there, Jim, but double check if you're concerned.
Well, and the other, and I'll deal with kind of both of these issues because I think it's important to make sure that we're clear on it as well. The do not call list is there for a very specific reason, that people don't want to fill their inboxes up with messages from people bombarding them with, unnecessary things, and it's there to stop telemarketers and all the things that it's there for a reason. This issue is that were there not to be any reason to have a personal representative or an executor or executrix appointed, then that phone number wouldn't be important. But like Jim said, as the legal representative for the estate, you have nobody else to talk to about that, and you're in pursuit of your business. If you've got a question, certainly, as Jim said, feel free to, and you should, if you're concerned about it, contact your attorney and do that. I'm not advising you to or not to do it. We're not attorneys. We don't play one on TV. We simply provide you with the information. But I think if somebody asks you that question, I think you say exactly what you said, which is that, well, it's public record that you are the personal representative. That's why I'm calling you, and they should well understand that that's why that's there. The other thing about the return address, we don't put it on there. Obviously, your letter, I'm sure, had all the ability in the world for you to be contacted, and we don't put it there to just make it so that it's more likely to be opened. And we're constantly looking at things that are there and available to make it even easier to go do that, and making sure those mailings get open. So I'm glad to hear that it's working well for you and all that. But like Jim said, we're not the attorneys, and we don't give legal advice.
And Jim, thank you and congratulations on your consistent sales. You're plodding away. It seems like at least every month you're getting a new listing, and and they're starting to sell. So congratulations on taking action and turning the leads into listings. We have one more person in the queue. Go ahead, Jim. Did you have a follow up? Feel free.
Well, I just need to get some of them. I need to get one of them closed. Is what I'm. That's when it all when it's all worthwhile once you get one closed. So.
You mean you
don't get
paid? You don't get paid when you list them?
I've been working on that, but my broker just won't come through.
All right. Well, thank you as always for contributing. It's funny, we got about 2 or 3 minutes left. We started the call with Roger, and let's end it with Roger. This was the Roger sandwich with you. We got one more person in the queue, Roger. So go ahead.
Well, I was a successful question. Chad was talking about finding out what's going on behind the dialogue with a personal representative, and also you can take the same question: what's going on behind the veil of the attorney that you're talking to? One of the best questions that I have ever come across is what's important to you about, and then the last part of the question is selling the house or representing this client, but dependent upon what you're doing. The question is really asking about motive. I have found that you have to ask that question, and sometimes in the middle you say, I'm going to ask this question a couple of different times, but it'll be set in a different context. I'm looking, especially with a personal representative, I'm looking for what plans that you have. What's important to you about selling the house? Well, I need the money. What's important, and at this point you say, I'm going to ask the question again a different way. What's important to you about getting the money? What are you going to do with it? And all of a sudden they start going, where are you going with this? Well, I'm not really sure. And then they start developing a plan on what it is. So if they don't have a plan, they don't know what to do, you're prompting them to have a course of action of what's next in their life or what's next in this process, so that they can move through this and move on with their life in a better way. I used it today with both the attorneys and the PR in the office, and the attorneys were just dumbfounded. And I sit there and I said, "What's important to you about selling these 3 properties?" And they just looked at me and I said, well, we want the money. And I said, well, what's important about the money? And then all of a sudden, the mom and the daughter were sitting there and they said, I'm pregnant. The daughter said, I'm pregnant and I need to find a house that I can do. And we don't want these houses, these properties that we have. And so I'm looking for a house. And then, well, that's very important. When are you due? And you start going into the personal side of it before you go in for the listing. But I have set up the entire process for them of where they're going to go next, what they're going to do next, and how they're going to be able to realize what's at the end of the process for them, so that their life is better.
Wow, that reminds me of Chad's feel, felt, find. What's important to you, asked in 3 different ways. That's great. That is excellent. Excellent. Chad, anything you want to add to that, or that was perfect?
That's perfect.
All right. Hey, Roger, I can't thank you enough. We're actually out of time, but we got one more person for a quick question. I don't ever like to leave anything uncovered. So we're going to do one more, and then we'll let you all get back to work. Phone number 2821, you're up. Are you there? Going, gone. All right. Rogers, we started and ended with you. Whoever was in the queue there, I guess I lost them. If you do have a question, whoever was in the queue or any of you, you don't have to wait till next Thursday. Send us an email, support@alltheleads.com. This is a great call today. I can't thank the people who contributed enough. Jim, Roger, I'm sorry, the gentleman in California, I didn't get your name, but thank you for being part of the call. I always like to end these calls by challenging you. We heard some great ideas today. Take one idea, one thought, one thing that you heard today that inspired you. Go out and put it into action and come back next Thursday and share your results with the group. Thank you very much, guys. Make it a great week. We'll talk to you next Thursday. Take care.